The Lives of the Saints, by the Reverend Alban Butler, taken from the 4th edition, published in 1954. October 9th, St. Dionysius, Bishop of Paris, and his companions, all martyrs. Of all the Roman missionaries sent into Gaul, St. Dionysius carried the faith the furthest into the country, fixing his see at Paris, and by him and his disciples the sees of Chartres, Senlis, and Meaux were erected, and shortly after those of Cologne and others, which we find in a flourishing condition and governed by excellent pastors in the 4th century, witness St. Maternus of Cologne and more. Saints Fustian and Victoricus, Crispin and Crispinian, Rufinus and Valerius, Lucian and Bovius, Quintin, Pieton, Regulus or Retitius of Senlis, and Marcellus are called disciples or fellow laborers of St. Dionysius, and came from Rome to preach the name of Christ in Gaul. We are assured in the Acts of the Martyrdom of St. Dionysius that the zealous bishop built a church at Paris and converted great numbers to the faith. A glorious martyrdom crowned his labors for the salvation of souls and the exaltation of the name of Christ. He seems to have suffered in the persecution of Valerian in 272, though some moderns defer his death to the beginning of the reign of Maximian Herculeus, who resided chiefly in Gaul from the year 286 to 292. Otto calls the judge by whom he was condemned Fesenius. The acts of his martyrdom inform us that after a long and cruel imprisonment he was beheaded for the faith, together with Rusticus, a priest, and Eleutherius, a deacon. The Acts add that the bodies of the martyrs were thrown into the river Seine, but taken up and honorably interred by a Christian lady named Catala, not far from the place where they had been beheaded. The Christians soon after built a chapel over their tomb. In 469, through the pious exhortations of St. Genevieve, a church was raised upon the ruins of this chapel, which was a place of great devotion, much resorted to by pilgrims, as appears from the works of St. Gregory of Tours in many places, by which it is clear that this church stood without the walls of the city, though very near them. By a donation of Clotaire II, it appears that here was then a religious community governed by an abbot. Dagobert, who died in 638, founded the great abbey in this place in which he was interred, and which has been for many ages the usual burial place of the French kings. Pepin and his son Charlemagne were principal benefactors for this monastery, which was magnificently rebuilt by Abbot Suger. The relics of Saints Dionysius, Rusticus, and Eleutherius are kept there in 3 silver shrines. The miraculous cure of Pope Stephen II in this church has been already related. St. Dionysius of France is commonly called St. Denis, from the French Denis. Those apostolic pastors who converted so many nations to Christ were men filled with His Spirit, who regarded nothing but His glory, and acted and lived for Him alone. Such a one sees nothing in this world which he hopes or desires, nothing he much fears. He seeks no composition with it while he is engaged in the cause of his Master. No threats or apprehensions of terror from its persecution can damp his courage in defending the honor of God or cool his zeal for the salvation of souls.